Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Mike Claiborne, as you well know. It's STL Sports Central, and it doesn't get any better when you have a chance to visit with a Hall of Famer, not just in baseball, but as a person. Tony La Russa is here in the house, and first of all, it's great to see you.
Thank you, Mike.
You look good.
It's like coming home here.
There you go. Exactly. You've been here for so many years, but I want to talk to you about a few things. But first of all, a big event's coming up on Wednesday, and let's talk a little bit about that, because one of the things about you and our good friend Walt Jocketty, you guys, in my opinion, created what we call Cardinal Nation. And Cardinal Nation, for me, is not about what goes on the field, but what we do community-wise and what you've done for so many things and so many reasons, bringing players back and getting them involved with the team and the organization and the community. But this event you have coming up is, I think, as special as anything we're going to see in St. Louis.
It's got an interesting background to it. I was telling you right before we started, it started to be a nice little get-together, and now it's much bigger. And the reason I appreciate being able to say something today is because we have our get-togethers. Guys, we talk. We're doing this because we want the fans. We've always felt connected to the fans. And it's opening day. And the day before, we were together, about 8 of us. And we had some dinner, and then we sit around the bar, and talk until 1 o'clock in the morning. Did it 2 days in a row. And we started talking about the past memories, because we had a bunch of them. And a lot of it focused on Darryl Kile from 2002, and then Walt Jocketty. So we started thinking, fans are not going to understand how great a teammate Darryl was. 20 years from now, I'd say, Darryl who? And then Walt's success and what he did and how he did it. In fact, I've written the bios of the program myself because I wanted to be personal. And I said that the culture and the talent that started this winning in 2000 on, that's Walt Jocketty. That's his personality. So what I'm liking is the way this all come together. It's going to be big. It's going to be fun. And we're actually doing it for the fans. It's for nonprofit. Nobody's going to make any money. We're just going to pass it out to groups that can use it. And it's priced right. I mean, it's like $40, 65. I have to give you some $50 tickets somewhere. So it's for the fans.
And it's funny you say it that way, because I've been with you and other people, and can't forget Mike Shannon. And we sit around and we tell stories and we hear stories. And I always used to love in spring training when they'd have the table in the middle of the room, and there'd be Jack and Mike and Stan Musial and Lou Brock and Bob Gibson, and they sit around and tell stories. What you're doing on this particular night is that kind of environment, telling stories, and fans have no idea how much fun this can be, because they may have heard a little bit of this and heard a little bit of that, but now they're going to actually hear it on stage, and you have so many good storytellers that are going to be part of this.
I'm actually worried about it being too long.
There's no such thing as being too long in an event like that.
Because that's just it. We were talking about one the other day. Game 7, 2004 against the Astros. We're down by a couple of runs. Roger Clemens pitching against us. Edmonds makes this incredible catch. The ball gets by him. That's going to be like a 4-run lead. Good chance. And when he talks about what he saw and how he moved, and then over the time we were together, he reminded me of Dave Henderson, the center
Hindu.
field. These guys, when they played center field, they knew the score. They knew who the hitter was. They knew who the pitcher was. And they knew what the count was. And I'll give you an example. Jim Edmonds got to us first day of spring training in 2000. Just come in. Played the first day he showed up. I said, "Look, take one day." No, I want to play. I can't make this stuff up. Top of the first inning, he misses a ball in left center by a stride. That's okay, man. What's the big deal? When the out was made with 2 outs, he comes in and sits next to Dunk and myself. And his question is, that guy we had on the mound, 2 strike, does he usually hang that slider? And the reason was, when he saw the slider right-hand hitter, he moved 2 steps to right center. And the guy hung it, and the guy pulled it. So Dunk and I looked down and I says, "Man,
we got something special here."
We got something. That's how he plays. And the fans should appreciate that.
One of the things about you, you've always had the ability to be around smart players. And you talk about Jim Edmonds. I think about Albert. I think about Yachty. I think about Wayno, Chris Carpenter. Guys, you pick a position, you always had smart players. So even going back to the days in Oakland, what is it about that where they can do a lot of the thinking themselves compared to you having to give instruction?
I think you establish a culture. It starts with the relationships. The relationship is family. You're with your baseball family during the season more than your personal family. So you got to earn respect and trust. You got to show you care for each other. All right. Well, the next step is if you got that going now, how are you going to get better every day? And I think that was part of one of our secrets, Mike, was that we identified and not in a defensive way. The infielder could tell the outfielder, man, I think you're laying back too much. Or the outfielder can say, man, or the coach could say it. And so we were always thinking that wherever we were going to get better and better and peak in October. And it's a very healthy attitude. And that what happens is you could be sitting around that table and you'd be having some fun, but somebody might say, well, I just noticed the other day that this guy is hanging this or he's making that pitch. Guys just jot it down. And what happens? You're better. So I think the attitude about not being satisfied, learning and hoping to peak at the end, that was a very healthy part of our culture.
Peaking at the end, some guys just want to get through the season. You always wanted to get through October. And I think there's a difference because this is a grind. You start in February, you want to be on the field for the last game of the year. And then you have other guys that says, I just want to get through the season. Not understanding that October is what we're all here for. How do you try and develop that culture? Because a lot of guys today just think, well, we're just playing.
Yeah.
But they're not thinking about what it's like to be on the field to win the last game of the year.
There's a lot to that. For one thing, I have a lot of coaching friends, learned a lot from them. But the one thing that's the most consistent about them talking to a baseball guy, a 6-month, 162 game schedule is beyond their comprehension. And that's our difference. That's your uniqueness. And you learn that there's a certain mental and physical toughness. And we always would divide April, May when you're all aggressive and young, not young, but energetic. And then June, July, the toughest. And then August, September, the best because then the end's in sight. But, players say, I want to have fun. We in our eating room in St. Louis, you've been in there, the wall is full of walk-offs. Just like when that kid hit the home run, hit the ball single, Pogo, so whatever his name
Pozo.
is. Yeah.
Pozo, yeah.
The way they just, guys, that's your fun. That's your professional fun. You want to have fun telling jokes. So the fun is October. And I told guys before, my favorite time, supposedly when the pressure's on the most, when everything counts, more people are watching, they're to second guess you. But that's the time of the year where instead of early when you're pacing yourself, man, I can't use Mike too much. You let it all hang out, brother. And once you get into October, the urgency and the fun of it, then it's made for the next time. It'll just keep multiplying.
I'm trying to remember who it was. Larry Boyle once told me that he said, you work hard for those 162. He said, man, when the playoffs roll around, that's when you have fun.
That's fun.
He said, because we're playing with house money at that point. We're here to show why we're here, and we have fun doing it. And listening to you talk, and you were a different person when the playoffs rolled around. You were a guy who was focused all the time, but it seemed like once you had put this product together and you say, all right, boys, let's go out. Let's go out and be who we are. Let's go out and show them why we are who we are. And it seemed like you had more fun because you trusted your players and your players trusted you at that point.
Because as a manager, it's all about the day you're playing. It's like the last game of your life. All you got to do is win it 4 times and you go, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it is fun. I think what happens is it's contagious. And that's why, I was talking to a couple of guys. on the coaching staff now for the Cardinals. You got Descalzo, you got Jay.
Future managers.
They were kids.
Yeah.
And they got into that culture, and they saw our veterans, and they learned. Now they're teaching the next group. So it's contagious, but the thing that's proven, I don't want to get into the story too long, but I got 2 minutes.
You got all the time you want.
Okay,
go for it.
This is an example. 2006, the 83 win. So we beat San Diego. Now we're going against the Mets. We're up 3-2, and we go to
Shea Stadium,
and we got carp. We got to win that game. We lose. So the guys go in, and boy, the guys are quiet because, man, that was our chance. And then Supa's going to pitch, but Supa's going to pitch the first game of the World Series. And I remember, I walked in there, we were down, and we always have a thing, down, discouraged, no energy, loser, frustrated, get mad, get angry. And then I said, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I said, we're going to put together guys, and it was Edmonds, Roland, Albert, and the last one was Eckstein, that had played in Game 7s and talked about the excitement of coming in there and playing and what that would mean. And I tell you, the guys walked out of there and I said, man, this is the day that you dream about. It's a Game 7. It's a competition. Do your best, and if they beat you, tip your cap. But if you win that game, you'll have a memory of it forever. And we won the game.
It was one of the most exciting games. I think about Andy Chavez taking that home run away, and then Yachty hitting one into the night. I mean, there was so many highs and lows in that series. But I'll go back to the first series, San Diego.
Uh-oh.
If our second baseman, because
Beltran.
Belliard. Rafael Belliard, if he doesn't make that play, and it was the 8th inning, and because he was playing a pull, it was left-handed hitter, good player, first baseman, and he turned on that pitch.
Gonzalez?
Yeah, Adrian Gonzalez. He turned on that pitch because if they get that hit, then we got a whole new ball game to deal with. And I'll never forget that particular play. And one of the things about you and Walt, you guys always found winning players going into September.
Tried to.
Whether it was him or Will Clark, Larry Walker, Reggie Sanders, all those guys were pros. Mm-hmm. And you all were able to find a way to mix them in. And when I look at teams now, if you don't have a guy like that, you can't win this thing.
Well, you just mentioned on Reggie Sanders. He's going to be there Wednesday night.
One of my favorite people.
Yeah, one of the favorite people.
Yes. He and Larry used to ride together to the ballpark every day. Larry Walker to the ballpark.
Yeah, imagine. So I want to make sure that the credit goes where it deserves. Walt and his staff, Jerry Walker's, the Cams, the scouts, they're the ones that call down there and say, well, we got a chance to get Roland or Walker. It wouldn't. And so the coaching staff and Tony, yeah, man.
Yeah, so, by all means.
So they deserve the credit for bringing the guys down there, and then we just enjoyed it.
Well, it was an enjoyable time, and we're going to relive these memories on Wednesday. Tell me about some of the other people who are going to be there, because you told Joe Buck's going to MC it.
Yeah, we caught a break because I called Joe, and he's in town, and we're going to start it with looking at Whitey's time, be a mention of the 60s. So I mentioned earlier that we want to do something with Darryl Kile. Well, Jack died 4 days before. So we're going to start with a tribute to Jack, and we'll have a replay of a couple of his calls. One of them is the home run by the Wizard. So Ozzy's going to be on the stage. Rabowski is going to be brought in and show that he's getting a Hall of Fame, and there will be some his histrionics with the pounding the glove and getting mad. So that's how it starts. And then we go into 2000 to 2002. So there'll be 5 guys on stage. It'll be Kile, Matt Morris, Matheny, Izzy, and Will Clark.
Oh my goodness!
So
there's some stories there.
They're going to be some video clips, and they'll talk about them. And then they're going to be a period like 10, 15 minutes where they honor Darryl Kile. All right. And then we have a comedian. His name is Tom Cotter. So bring your kids. This guy is absolutely clean. He's hilarious. I've been around him a couple, 3 times, and he's donated his time. All right. Then you got the nice intermission. We're going to have something like probably maybe a little over 200 veterans and first responders as guests or people that have bought tickets for them. Well, we start the second half with a military portion. Tom Satterley from the Delta Force, Sergeant Major that was in Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down, and got a Silver Star. He and his wife, they have something called All Secure. And we're going to start it very nicely. You'll see it. There'll be Ray Charles, a little bit of America the Beautiful. Flag comes down, out comes Tom. But we're patriotic, brother. You can't do enough of those veterans. In fact, it's a lot of what our new group, the La Russa Rescue Champion, our family, and Penn Fed, we work to put dogs with veterans. So when that's over, then out comes 2004, 2011. And the 5 guys are David, there's Freese, there's Edmonds, there's Reggie, David Eckstein, and Woody Williams. So same thing. We're going to introduce guys with videos, and I'm going to harass them a little bit. See, the more I harass them, the less it's a roast of meat. You know what I'm saying?
Take the heat off of you.
But at the same time, in the audience, every day there's 2 or 3 more guys show up. And in fact, we were just talking, the 20-game winner 4 times in a row with one of the great leaders of all time, David Stewart, coming because of Walt. We're going to do a tribute to Walt. So, man, if that ain't a good enough night for the fans, I don't know what it is.
You know what? I don't know where you would want to be, why you would want to be somewhere else.
And it's inexpensive. Tickets are inexpensive.
That's key. That's the key. How can people get tickets?
Well, the easy way would be on Wednesday, you can go right to the box office because it'll be open at 12. And you can save yourself some Ticketmaster
fees.
But if you want to do it, you can go to Ticketmaster and buy some. We have $40 seats. They're good seats because
that's great. That's a great facility too.
Yeah.
There's not a bad seat in the house.
No, there's not a bad. We got a $65 seat, and there's a couple there if you want to go to reception, you want to spend some cash, but there's not many of those that. So the place to do it is do it on Ticketmaster, or in person, or if I've always got some in my pocket. If somebody finds a way to get in touch with me, I sell it to you directly.
Instead of cash, you carry tickets. That's what you say. Hey, for you, you still follow the game. I watch you watch the games. What do you, when you look at the game now, and whether it's good or bad, what do you like about what you see? Because we're going through an era where you knew analytics before they call it analytics. You and Dave Duncan knew this well before anybody had a title for it. But when you watch it now, there's certain things about the game that I'm sure you kind of raise an eyebrow to, and then I'm sure there's a couple of things you kind of shake your head to.
Well, for a while now, Mike, it's no surprise because as aware you are of what it was, what it is, and what it will be. That is the issue of the day. You're right. We took pride in gaining information, much information we could. Dunk was great, but McKay would do it in the outfield, Okendo and Patino for the infield. But once the explosion came, there's been an exaggerated importance in many organizations. You can get information, percentages. Mike, 42% of the time does this, 32, okay. When you get into the game that day, you can't sit there figuring out which of the 42 is. Or if you're trying to hit, and I'm going to hit against Mike. So where you got to draw the line is know what the percentages, what the analytics can do for you, but you got to know what a coach can do to make an adjustment, or a manager makes it. Mostly what the players do when they go against a pitcher trying to get a hitter on. It's so variable, volatile. So if you try, and a lot of organizations do, they handcuff their players and their staff because look, this situation. Well, no, that situation. Maybe Mike's bat's a little slower, maybe, and you make an adjustment. So I have big problems with that. The other thing that there's 2 sides. I'm glad we're having this opportunity to say, because sometimes you have to talk too fast. On the pitching side, how hard can you throw it? How much can you spin it? Well, There are a lot of guys that don't have command. They're making mistakes that get hit or they walk. They have breaking balls that they're useless. Pitching is about command. You got to be able, you got to throw the ball to the edges and keep it out of the middle. And to accentuate how hard you throw it, all it does is break your arm. The more you spin it, the more you lack command. So that bothers me. On the hitting side, it's even worse. For a long time, and some of the, I think the analytical guys are starting to understand, traditional baseball means that you watch, and if you see a game where you think runs are going to score, then you go for crooked numbers. If you think that it's a game and what you're seeing, the pitchers are in charge, then maybe you better push run
a little small
to
ball.
run. Yeah, play small ball. I call it less frequent ball because it doesn't come up as often. So what I see, I watched TV and I watched the last couple 3 games of the Braves. You'll see a guy in scoring position on both sides, and he'll take his big old "I'm going to hit it over the moon." Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. That's not baseball. You got a guy in scoring position. Do what Albert did. Where's the pitch? I'm going to hit a line drive. Oh, there's a ball in the gap. I hit a double. Oh, it just left the park. So the emphasis nowadays on launching, exit speed is bad baseball, because as you play better and better teams, like later in October, you try to do the big thing like a home run, you can't get the ball in the infield.
Good pitching to stop that.
That's right. You better work on hitting a line drive to get it started, get them around, get them in. And to me, I actually make a list. I think there's 7 organizations that are ahead of the times where their guys go to bat, and I see them spraying the ball all over, running the bases right, and they'll hit their home runs. I get very irritated when watching hitting that thinks either their agent has told them or they believe if I don't hit a certain number of home runs, I'm not a productive
get
player.
paid. Yeah.
No, that's bad baseball.
I try.
I gotta say one more thing.
Sure.
Because I'll forget it. And I think the DeWitts will get upset at me for this. I watch our scoreboard. It's just St. Louis Cardinal baseball, tradition capital of the world. It doesn't have batting average, doesn't have RBIs. It has OPS, and it's got like these stats. I'm thinking, come on, man, that's not us. Fans want to see, hey, what's his average today?
They know that more than they know. They know average more than they know how to figure out OPS and all the other numbers. You're right. And you want to keep it to a point where they can appreciate that. I always say this. You'd be amazed how much more fun it is to watch the game compared to read this.
That's right.
And I think a lot of guys have gotten away from watching. And you've been in dugouts all your life. How many guys on that front step watching the game? Because as you mentioned, this pitcher, the chart says he does this, and that. But yeah, maybe he's not as sharp, and his bullpen wasn't good. He doesn't have command of his curveball today. Maybe his slider, he's hanging a little bit, and maybe there's a few velos off of his fastball. If you watch it, you'll figure it out, because pitchers today show you everything in the first round of the order. They don't have anything on the back end to show you, I'm going to show him a change up here instead of looking for the fastball. And if you watch the game, you'll be able to figure it out a lot more. For where I sit, and you sat there longer than me.
Well, I do believe that there is something to leadership, and everything you hear me say, but I'll tell you where I learned it. I didn't ever innovate anything. I was taught by great mentors for years, and I kept asking questions. So there's nothing wrong with controlling a dugout like we used to with our coaches and the manager. You're going to pay attention. You know how it is? When that team comes out the field, they better see that dugout. Then it's not inside the video room.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be – so I saw it the other day, and I ain't going to drop any names, and that one club on the one side, all the guys were watching like this. The other one had about 3 or 4 guys. The other guys are sitting in the back of the dugout. Maybe they weren't even in the – so as a leader, as a culture – on a staff, we required you stand up there, So you want to be here 3 hours. You stand up there, and now it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. And you pay attention because you may see something about your pitcher, about your hitter, and you can help and you may learn yourself. I think you require it, man. You don't say, hey, this is how we want you to do it. This is how you have to do it.
You know, it's funny you bring this up. I'm with Eduardo Perez last week in
yeah,
Chicago, and he brought that very notion up about playing for you, watching the game. And by the way, it was 22 years ago last week that you put him in a game against Mark Pryor, and he told you, Skip, I can hit this guy. And he hit a 3-run homer, and you took him out of the game for defensive purposes in the 4th inning. He said, I've never been subs. He said, but it was the right thing to do because he had booted one, and you took him out. He got 3-run homer. You ended up winning the game 3-1. And he said, but I stayed and watched the rest of the game. It was 22. He reminded me about it last Sunday. And he said, yeah, I hit Pryor pretty good. He said, I went to Skip because he was going to play somebody else because I think Roland was hurt or somebody. And he said, I convinced him to put me in. He said, little did I know that was the only at bat I was going to. He said, I'd never been subbed for in the 4th inning of a ball game. But again, a guy who paid attention. He knew what he could do.
Well, believe me, there's never a decision I made that I'm really proud of. You could go back there and says, I'll tell you two of them.
Sure.
Or one of them has to do with Mike Gallego.
Mm-hmm.
The left-hand pitcher playing Yankee Stadium, top of the 1st inning, he's hitting 9th. I mean, we get a rally going. We got 5 runs, and there's 2 guys on base, and he's on deck. There's a 9th place hitter. So I said, Mike, come on. So he says, yeah, Skip, what's he throw? He says, you ain't going to worry about it. Because I'm pinch hitting. No, that's not good baseball. So here's the other one. Here's the other one. It's true story. That's what I think back. I used to get into the game, and I always thought, when it's over, I don't want to have a regret. I wasn't paying attention. Mm-hmm. And I was never, I learned, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Be more afraid of not doing what you think you should do because you'll never know if it's right. So we're in the All-Star game. Cal will know this. It's a 1991 All-Star game in Toronto. Cal's having a great first half. He wins the home run contest. Now we're playing a game. He hits a couple 2-run homer. So we got our 1-run lead. It's the 7th inning, bottom of the 7th in Toronto. And he's on deck. And then I'm going to have Ozzie Guillen play shortstop in the 8th and the 9th. The guy leads off with a double. And he's starting to walk. Cal, come here. I said, I'm going to use Ozzie. Ozzie's going to bunt him over. He looks at me like, what? So Ozzie bunted him over. Harold Baines came up, sacrificed that 2-run lead. After the game, says, why don't you just tell me hit the ball to right field?
Folks, this is Tony La Russa, and these are the sort of stories we're going to hear on Wednesday night. Bring the family. You're going to have some great stories and some great people that are going to come out and talk. I'm going to say this on behalf of everybody who's a baseball fan and certainly people in St. Louis. Thank you for everything you've meant, not only in uniform, but certainly out of uniform. And to have an event like this is going to be epic. And hopefully we'll do more of these because if not for you, I'm not sure where we would be as far as Cardinal Nation is concerned. And so I thank you, my friend. Have a great night. Everybody's going to be there. There'll be some surprises there, I'm sure.
There'll be surprises.
There will be some surprises there. So I want to make sure people come out. They can go to Stiefel. They can show up and get tickets. If they see you on the street, you'll have tickets. But more importantly, show up and let's raise some money for some very worthy causes.
Let me finish with this, man. When I got here, Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Red Shandy, Stan Musial, pull me aside. And they said, you're in the major leagues now. I've been married for 16 years. So you're in the major league. Do you know about the St. Louis Cardinals? And I had to tell them. I was raised in Tampa, Florida. I used to watch it.
Yeah, we used to train over there.
So I knew the history. But what they wanted to be sure that the new manager and the coaching staff and the players, you had this tradition of Cardinal. There are other places that play the game really well. So that's why I don't like that. But in St. Louis, you played the game hard and you executed. You limited the mistakes you made. And I went there. I said, I got it. I understand. I'm going to do my best.
and you did more than your best. You did an outstanding job, and you continue to do that. Skip, thanks for coming by.
Mike,
Appreciate
always.
you. Good luck.
Total respect.
He's Tony La Russa. I'm Mike Claiborne. We thank you for tuning in, and don't forget, Wednesday night, Stiefel, show up, and I guarantee you have a great time. So for Tony, I'm Mike. We say goodbye.
Thanks.